Coming up on Locked On Dodgers, home sweet home for the Dodgers. They back. They won a series. The bullpen pitched well. The offense came back, and everything looked good for the night. But on Friday, we don't know exactly what's going to happen with the pitching staff. We're going to get into that as well. That's what's on tap, so make sure to keep it Locked On Dodgers.
You are Locked On Dodgers, your daily Los Angeles Dodgers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yo, Dodger fans. Welcome to Locked On Dodgers. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 local sports daily podcast network. Locked On, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Birddogs. Go to birddogs.com/LockedOnMLB, and they'll throw in a free custom Birddogs Yeti style tumbler with every order. This is the daily podcast covering the Los Angeles Dodgers, bringing you the smart fans' perspective on our boys in blue. You can find us wherever you find podcasts and on YouTube simply by searching for Locked On Dodgers. And you can become a part of the everydayers by listening every day, by subscribing, and by telling your friends and family about us. If this is your first time listening or watching, I'm Vince Samperio. That's my co-host, Jeff Snider. And we're here together. We're both lifelong Dodger fans that have covered the team, currently cover the team, done a lot of stuff regarding the Dodgers in terms of watching Dodger games, being at Dodger games, and, now talking about the Dodgers for a few years now. So we're here to bring you the smart fans perspective on our boys in blue every weekday morning. That's what we're here to do today. The Dodgers won via walk-off last night in the 11th inning. Freddie Freeman came up with the bases loaded, hit one deep enough that was already going to score a run, but the White Sox outfielders decided not even to try for it. So it ends up being a walk-off hit for Freddie Freeman instead of a walk-off sac fly. But yeah, Jeff, it was a game that didn't start off that great. Michael Grove struggled in giving up home runs, but the bullpen, which has been a topic negatively for the last few days, came up positively this time.
Yeah, they sure did. They pitched 6 scoreless innings, struck out 9 batters. I think only allowed 1 hit. It was just a dominant performance by the bullpen, including a couple guys who, Yency Almonte threw a scoreless inning. Caleb Ferguson got the win with a scoreless inning, and that was the 11th inning starting with the runner on second base, had a runner on third with 1 out, and got out of the inning. Really good bounce back game for the Dodgers bullpen for sure.
Yeah, it was good to watch. Like I said, Michael Grove got the start. He did give the Dodgers 5 innings at the very least, so a little bit of a reprieve there. He wasn't terrible. He just had a lot of mistakes. He did have 18 swings and misses, which was even more than Dylan Cease had against the Dodgers. But he also had 4 mistakes that were hit over the fence for home runs that ended up being 4 runs for the White Sox. But like you mentioned, the bullpen came through, and this is what we expect from the Dodger bullpen. And, I don't think it's obviously we're going to have to see some sustained success for Dave Roberts calling them out and them just maybe being tired of being called upon or trashed online or whatever the case is. But this is kind of what we expected from the bullpen when the season started. And it was the main guys, it was Caleb Ferguson, it was Yency Almonte, it was Evan Phillips. Like, it was guys that we expected at the start of the season to be helping the Dodgers. And that's what we got last night. So it was obviously great to see. Especially 2 innings starting with the runner on second. The Dodgers haven't performed well in past years in extra innings. I believe they have a winning record in extra innings this year. So
3-0, man.
Yeah, maybe they're starting to figure it out.
Yeah, maybe it's that managing genius Dave Roberts, because I heard the last couple of years that Dave Roberts was the reason they had a bad record in extra innings. So the 3-0 record must be Dave Roberts. He deserves credit, right?
Yeah, you got to give credit where it's due. Especially if you're going to not give credit when sometimes it's not always due. But yeah, offensively, it was a struggle for the first few innings. The Dodgers ended up breaking through. Chris Taylor hits a grand slam to tie the game in the 6th. And then, there in the bottom of the 11th, they load the bases and Freddie Freeman gets the big hit. So it wasn't, one of those games where you feel like, oh man, the offense, did their they did their job, but it was one of those where, hey, you know what? They came through when they needed to. Didn't look pretty, but it ended up working out.
Yeah, and a couple unsung heroes for me. Miguel Rojas had 2 infield singles, including one in the grand slam inning. I think he was, oh, maybe it wasn't that. Anyway, he was on base those 2 times, and he drew a walk in the bottom of the 11th, which was kind of funny. It shouldn't have been a walk. It should have been strike 2 because Yasmani Grandal protested that the ball had nicked Rojas's bat, and it definitely did. You could see it on the replay. I didn't think there was any way the replay would be able to show it, and the side view definitely didn't. But then they showed the front view and like, oh, yep, that definitely hit his bat. But for some reason, that's not reviewable, which worked out well for the Dodgers. I think it's crazy that there are plays that aren't reviewable. I feel like if a replay will show that the umpires missed a call, that ought to be reviewable. But he did a great job getting on base 3 times, and James Outman getting the base hit to bring up Chris Taylor to load the bases. Outman had a terrible game. He struck out his other 3 times up, but he got that big hit when it mattered and loaded the bases for Taylor. And so extending that rally with 2 outs was pretty big. And Taylor 100th career home run was a grand slam. And you probably saw the note that his first career homer was also a grand slam. Earlier this season, Freddie Freeman's 300th career homer was a grand slam. So it's been a grand slamming kind of year for the Dodgers.
Yeah, they already have like 8 and 9 grand slams on the year. So, pretty good there. And yeah, we have on here walk-off wins are fun. And my prediction when the year started was that the Dodgers were going to have a lot of walk-offs. I think they have 4 or 5 already, so halfway to kind of the 10 that I had kind of bookmarked as the way it goes. And it was because of this, like the offense. Well, before the season, I thought the offense wasn't going to be good enough to maybe score 6 runs all the time, but the pitching was going to be good enough to hold them, and we'd have a lot of wins that way, which is kind of how it worked out in this game, but not how the season's kind of worked out in general.
Yeah, overall, you've been so wrong that you were right, I guess.
Yeah.
If you're wrong about everything, you end up being right. So
yeah, the result was right, just not the way it got there.
Yeah, and I loved Freddie Freeman's at bat there. Well, Mookie Betts at bat before Freddie Freeman, 12 pitches, I think. And in the post-game interview with Kirsten Watson, she mentioned to Freddie that he was kind of smiling during Mookie's at bat, and Freddie said he knows, okay, he's wearing the pitcher down. He's going to be a little bit tired. He's going to be a little bit frustrated. And, it's that situation when Mookie was up, my son said, how hard do you think his heart's beating right now? And I said, probably not that hard at all, because knowing that you got Freddie and Will behind you and nobody out, it's like, you can just go up there and just get your pitch. And that was Mookie. Like, he wasn't fooled once. You could tell Mookie wasn't trying to do too much in that at bat. It was just, I'm just going to, if he gives me a pitch to hit, I'm going to hit it. And he fouled off a couple tough pitches and he took the walk. And going up there knowing if I take a walk, we're still going to win the game because I've got great hitters behind me. It was a very good approach by Mookie. And then Freddie, a 3-1 count. And it's like, well, a walk ends the game. And he just walked Rojas and Mookie. But knowing that you'd rather win on a walk-off hit or a walk-off sac fly, and a walk isn't guaranteed, and you don't want to let a pitch pass by. And so for Freddie to stay aggressive, sit dead red right there, I thought everything about that inning was really, really good offensively for the Dodgers.
Yeah, worked out. One quick note. Yesterday, I talked about Max Muncy and how Dave Roberts had said he had a grade 2 hamstring strain, which I had said was about a three weeks out. And I was wondering why they were saying we'll wait till the weekend to see what happens. Max Muncy was on some podcast or show in the morning and said that it wasn't a grade 2 hamstring strain. It was just a mild hamstring strain, which makes a lot more sense now. And then Dave Roberts said, yeah, he got the wrong information. So, and not that I was bashing Dave Roberts or anything, I bashed the Dodgers a little bit about why, if he has a grade 2 hamstring strain, why are they waiting for the weekend to put him on the IL? But he took some ground balls before the game. He should be back by the weekend, they're hoping, and if not, they'll make a decision probably on Saturday of what they want to do.
Yeah, as is usually the case, when we get a little more information, the people making decisions aren't quite as dumb as it seems like they are. So,
although this one was Dave Roberts' fault, not people assuming.
Yeah, Dave Roberts just said the wrong thing. So yeah.
All right, we're going to talk about Friday's game, which was slated to be a bullpen game, but may not be a complete bullpen game after all. That's what's on tap, so make sure to keep it locked on Dodgers. This episode is brought to you by Birddogs. Birddogs are comfort and style and flair and everything you need this summer in your shorts. Birddogs stretch. We got the stretch khaki shorts that are designed to fit slimmer through the thigh and leg, giving you a truly sculpted look. The hoochie daddy shorts, as some people say. If you want to go for that look, you can get the inseams pretty low. You can show off those legs if you got the quads busting out, and you're gonna feel comfortable. You're gonna look good, and you're gonna not have to worry about that sweat because Bird Dogs have the anti-stink sweat wicking fabric that keeps you cool and dry all day long. So feel free to go out in summer, enjoy your day. Go golfing, go to the beach, go whatever. Bird Dogs are there. They're gonna fit for you. They're gonna help you out, and they're comfortable. I'm someone who wears shorts almost 99% of the time, and these shorts are comfortable. And from someone that wears shorts that often, I would take my word as bond. So if you want to get some Bird Dogs, you can go to birddogs.com/lockedonmlb and get a free Yeti style tumbler with your order. That's birddogs.com/lockedonmlb for a free Yeti style tumbler. You won't want to take your Bird Dogs off. We promise you. Thank you for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen of the day every day. Make sure to check out SiriusXM or the SXM app if you want to listen to the Dodgers home broadcast every game. All you got to do is search Dodgers, SiriusXM, SXM app. You can also find Locked On Dodgers on there if you search Locked On Dodgers, which is also how you can find us wherever you find podcasts and on YouTube. Moving on, Jeff, the Dodgers was this planned to be a bullpen game on Friday. I talked yesterday's show about how they shouldn't be doing bullpen games right now, especially with the bullpen struggling. And then I felt that Dave Roberts, I guess we'll get into this first. So I felt that Dave Roberts managed Tuesday's game thinking about the bullpen game on Friday, or Wednesday's game, Wednesday's game, thinking about the bullpen game on Friday. We got word that the Dodgers are going to call up a pitcher. We don't know exactly who yet. We don't know if it's going to be a bulk inning guy or an actual starter who should be expected to go, at least 5 innings if they're not bad. But the Dodgers, regardless of all that, managed this game like they were playing to win this game once they tied it up in the 6th, which was the way you need to go this season with this team and the way the standings are right now.
Yeah, it's Roberts said a little bit more. He said, we're trying to figure this whole pen out. A lot of guys are going to be down, so it's certainly not ideal for a bullpen game. We should have someone en route. It's going to be a collective effort tomorrow. And collective effort still kind of says maybe bullpen game, but it also could just mean, hey, we're calling up a starter for the minors, and we're not expecting him to go super deep in the game because he's a minor league pitcher. And so I was looking at the Oklahoma City roster of who might be available. I think it's going to come from Oklahoma City. I don't think we're going to see somebody coming up from AA as much as people would like to see some of these AA guys get their shot. But Matt Andriese is the guy who makes the most sense to me. He's thrown 60 innings in the minors this year. He's made 12 starts, and he's been fine. He has a 4.50 ERA, which for the Pacific Coast League isn't bad. He's a veteran. He's a guy who, 12 starts, 60 innings, that's five innings per start. So it seems like he's a guy you might be able to get some length from. The other possibility would be Gavin Stone, who, hasn't done well yet in the big leagues this year. And the Giants do have a good offensive team. And so, I don't know that throwing him in against the Giants is really what you want to do. He was supposed to start on Thursday for Oklahoma City, but that game got canceled because of weather. And so he theoretically could be available. But for me, I feel like Matt Andriese makes a lot more sense. The downside of Matt Andriese is he's not on the 40-man roster. So they would have to make a 40-man move for him. And
I think Eric Stevens said they have an empty spot right now.
Oh yeah, because they DFA'd Adam Kolarek to bring Shelby Miller off the bereavement list. Oh yeah, so they don't have to make a 40-man move. So that makes Andriese make a lot more sense, even though it seems like at some point Andriese, if he gets called up, will get DFA'd. I don't think they'd want to do that. So it's something they'll think about. But I don't know. For me, Vince, I think Andriese makes the most sense.
Yeah, if it was Stone, they would have announced it as Stone, or if it was Stone, they would have, it would have been known from the beginning of the week once they kind of knew they needed a guy. And the fact of the matter is, like, he went down to AAA, and he hasn't been that great down there either. So he's still figuring it out. Whatever it is, he's figuring it out. And it probably doesn't make too much sense for the Dodgers to try to have them figure it out in the major, especially in a rivalry game, especially like I said, when right now games are still mattering. I mean, the Dodgers are still chasing in the division at the moment. So, but yeah, when you hear bullpen game, there's like two types of things. Like there's a bullpen game where everyone's throwing an inning, or maybe 4 to 5 outs, and then there's bullpen games where you have a bulk guy. And I think at the very least, I'd want a bulk guy. So, when the other day when they had the bullpen game, or when they called up Andre Jackson, it was either going to be to help them out to prepare for a bullpen game, or to have him ready to throw, multiple innings in the potential bullpen game. So it goes that way. He can't come up unless someone gets hurt anyway, so it wouldn't be him. So yeah, Andres makes sense. The Giants, knowing the Giants and their platoons and everything, the way they work things out, I would imagine the Dodgers are going to go the opener route tomorrow or tonight, just for the simple fact of trying to throw the Giants off with their lineup.
Yeah, and if you look at who pitched for the Dodgers, you figure Evan Phillips and Shelby Miller, they both threw 2 innings on Thursday. I'd assume they are both down on Friday. Yency Almonte has now thrown 3 innings in the last 2 games, or parts of 3 innings. He didn't get through the second inning, but he's thrown a lot of pitches the last 2 days. I would assume he's going to be down, and so it makes things difficult just because Brusdar Graterol theoretically could throw you 2 innings, but probably not. Caleb Ferguson will probably be available. Victor Gonzalez is probably available. Gonzalez, Vesia, Taylor Scott, and Nick Robertson all didn't pitch on Thursday. So you've got some arms, but it's really not the top guys. And so you really, it seems like whoever they call up, they're going to hope to get at least 5 innings from, and maybe even 6. And yeah, going with an opener, maybe, just to, especially because they got Lamont Wade, they got Jock Peterson, they've got guys who are definite platoon guys, and we know Gabe Kapler loves a platoon. So yeah, an opener definitely makes sense, but it's going to be an iffy game, and I really hope that they can. The reason before I even heard Dave Roberts say that they were going to call somebody up, the reason I was hoping they don't go the bullpen game route is because this game should give the bullpen some momentum. 6 scoreless innings. It was a really good game, and you don't want to just throw that away by saying, "Oh, now we're going to burn all your arms out tomorrow."
Yeah, I think the Giants are going with the bullpen game too, because I see John Brebbia as their listed starter, unless they're going. I doubt they would announce their opener if it wasn't like a bullpen game. So, I guess fun stuff there with bullpen game versus bullpen game. But yeah, like I said, they have guys available to throw to get through the game. They don't have necessarily the guys they might want. This is a game where hopefully the offense can get it going and put up, some cushion there, and Dodgers can work out. Because then on Saturday, the Dodgers have their theoretically second best, first 1A, 1B best starter in terms of getting deep into games right now, between Kershaw and Bobby Miller. Bobby Miller throwing Saturday. So you would hope that, hopefully you can take out the bullpen game, and you got Bobby Miller, and you'll get Phillips and Almonte back, who's, other than that one game, has been pitching relatively well lately. So you get some of your better arms back from not being able to pitch on Friday night, and then you can go at it that way.
Yeah, and if you can get depth from Andres or whoever, depth from Bobby Miller, and they've got days off on Monday and Thursday next week. So this is really a chance to reset the bullpen rather than burning them out. I assume the Giants won't let Brebbia pitch for too long because he has to get to his rehearsal for the community theater production of Fiddler on the Roof, that I assume is why he looks like that. Anyway, that's my John Brebbia joke for today.
There you go. Deep cut for everybody. All right. We'll talk a little bit more about walk-off wins in general, a little bit more about the offense, a couple guys that maybe we haven't talked about in a little bit. So that's what's on tap. So make sure to keep it locked on Dodgers. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make your way to FanDuel, because right now new customers can get a no-sweat first bet up to $2,500. That's $2,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. And if you have been following, recently the NBA Finals ended. Recently, the Stanley Cup Final ended, and there were some people that won some big money off those wins. There was a guy, I think, that had the Nuggets. He won like 80 to 100K. There was someone that had the Knights along with some other things in a parlay, but they ended up winning like 100K. He made it rain in Las Vegas after he got his money, or before he got his money after he won. So FanDuel can help you do that. And right now, it might be a good one to bet on the Dodgers to come back and win the division. Maybe a little bit less so than it was a couple days ago when they were 4 games back. But either way, those are always long time future bets that can pay off. You got the same game parlay bets where you can bet you can bet Mookie and Freddie to get a hit, and most of the time you're going to be right and win some money there because they usually do get hits just about every game. So go check out FanDuel. You can see what bets you can get. They got great promotions going on all the time, safe and secure app, and you can get paid instantly. You don't got to wait for it. There's no better place to bet all your bets than with America's #1 sportsbook. Visit fanduel.com/locked on and get a no sweat first bet up to $2,500. That's fanduel.com/locked on. FanDuel is an official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right. Thank you for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen of the day every day. Check us out wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Become an everydayer by listening every day. And remember, SiriusXM, SXM app, you can listen to the home broadcast for every Dodger game. All you got to do is search Dodgers. You can also search Locked On Dodgers there if you want to listen to us on there. So go check that out. And yeah, just once again, walk-off wins. Dodgers have a handful of them now. And even though it's, I guess, depending on the way they do it, it's a little bit more stressful of a win. But it's always one of the more exciting ways to win. I guess if you could be like, okay, the Dodgers are going to win like 100 games this year and they're going to win like 25 by walk-off, I'd be like, all right, that's kind of cool because in the moment, you feel the stress. You don't know which games would be the walk-off, but they're going to be coming. So, but either way, this one was one of the ones where it's probably the good way. The Dodgers were down 4-0, ended up, coming back later in the game and then holding on defensively in order to score the run offensively to win the game via walk-off. So, yeah, just, another shout out to walk-off wins.
Yeah, I saw somebody on Twitter yelling at Juan Toribio that Dave Roberts was an idiot for pulling Michael Grove out of the game because it's a bullpen game tomorrow and nothing good's going to happen in this game. So just let him finish the game. And just to prove that you really can't blame Dave Roberts for pretty much anything in this game. So yeah, this was a fun walk-off because it did look like when they're down 4-0 and Dylan Cease was dealing, it looked like there wasn't much hope. And that grand slam really turned things around. But even then, it's like, crap, we've still got 3 more innings here of the bullpen pitching, and it turned out to be 5 more innings of the bullpen pitching. But in the end, yeah, I mean, I'll take this kind of walk-off because the alternative to this one is a loss. A lot of walk-offs stress me out, but when it's a comeback like this, I'll take it. I would still much rather have maybe no more walk-offs this year and just a bunch of 11-3 wins. But I know beggars can't be choosers.
Yeah, I'll take the walk-offs when they come, especially in this way. So we've talked about some guys, positively and negatively in the lineup. Max Muncy being one of the guys negatively, David Peralta being one of the guys positively. Obviously there's other guys that have kind of run. But it's someone that we haven't talked about, and it is going to become a thing here in the next month or so, just based on the Dodgers and how their plans or thoughts for the trade deadline are going to be. And it's going to be, and this one's Miguel Vargas. And Miguel Vargas on the year has a 731 OPS, somewhat respectable. But recently he has struggled. He struggled to start the year. Then he had a little bit of a hot streak going, has seemingly cooled off a little bit there. The last week, he has a slugging percentage of 100 with an on-base percentage of 240. Not ideal. You go back over the last 2 weeks, and he has an OPS of 600. Not ideal. Then you go over the last month. He was a little bit better over the last month. So mainly the last 2 weeks, but he has the defense second base has been good. He's really good at turning double plays. And the Dodgers we're going to have to look this up, but I feel like the Dodgers have turned way more double plays this year than they have, or are on pace to turn way more double plays this year than they have in the past couple of years. It's probably somewhat shift-based as well, and the fact that, Miguel Vargas is good at turning double plays. But offensively, the Dodgers they can get by with having kind of the offense they have now where it's 1 through 5 is good, and then you don't know what you're going to get from 6 through 9, but they have potential to have good games. Jason Hayward has the potential to have a good game. Last night he didn't. Peralta is starting to heat up. Maybe he makes that a 1 through 6 instead of 1 through 5, but that remains to be seen. Miguel Vargas has had good games, but recently hasn't had so many good games. And then you got, Rojas or Taylor, whoever, like who come up and with moments, but maybe not the sustained season-long success at the plate that you might want. But yeah, Jeff, I don't know. Miguel Vargas, how do you feel about him? What are you thinking about him? And, where the Dodgers have to either, if he continues to struggle, how long is that leash? I know we talked about this maybe about a couple weeks ago on the mailbag question, but since then, he hasn't really hit at all.
Yeah, I still think they're going to give him a pretty long leash just because he has that hit tool that everybody's excited about. And I think he's a guy who they want to give it to. I think of him kind of like Gavin Lux the last couple of years where, he may not be starting in the postseason if he's not hitting, but I don't think they're going to give up on him because I do think they are very, very high on him. And I think we've seen flashes of that. I expect him to get better. Honestly, I'm pretty high on his hit tool too. And I think some of it is just confidence. And really, as long as the offense is doing okay, I think that's a big part of it. They'll give him as much leash as they can afford to. And right now, if the pitching, if the bullpen was pitching better right now, if the starters were getting a little bit deeper in games, the Dodgers would be easily in first place and we wouldn't be stressing about it. It's not the offense that's the problem. And obviously every run that your bullpen gives up, another run on offense makes up for that. But, because the offense isn't really the problem right now, I think they're going to continue to give him leash. I think his leash is longer than James Outman's just because his prospect status is higher. I think they're higher on him overall as a hitter than they were on Outman. And so Outman, what we're seeing is kind of what some people were afraid we were going to see in the big leagues. Whereas Vargas, I think people are still expecting to see a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, Outman's kind of already got to that point where it's not a guarantee he's going to start against every right-handed pitcher. We've already seen him sit at least once, maybe twice against a righty already. So, yeah, Outman's reached that point. Yeah, Vargas, like I said, the fact that the defense is, I don't know what the metrics say, but from someone who watches a lot of Dodger games, I would say that he's been solid on defense. Like I said, he can turn the double plays. He's pretty good at those plays to his left, where he's got to go a little bit into the outfield and make the throw. He made a play last night, making that, saving a run. So yeah, they're gonna give him that leash, but I do think that they're gonna try to acquire bats, and at this point, with the amount of openings they can have between outfield and infield, and the way they can move guys around, I don't think it's going to be, we need an infield bat, we need an outfield bat. I think they're just going to say, we're going to get a bat however we can, and we'll fit them in where we need to. I don't think he'd be the first one on the chopping block anyways. If you can get a guy that can play short, or if you can get someone that plays outfield and move other guys into more of the shortstop role, then, Rojas becomes more of that utility guy, not Vargas. Because, realistically, Vargas off the bench can help, but one, it's obviously not going to help his development. And two, we know he's pretty solid at second base, but he doesn't really have any other versatility. I mean, he can play first, but when does Freddie really come off of first? We know he can play third, but we don't know how well. We haven't seen it. And we know they tried him in the outfield last year, but that wasn't the most successful trial in the outfield that we saw last year. So, yeah, I think it's one of those where unless they acquire like a big-time bat that moves a lot of guys around, I think he's still in it for the long haul right now.
Yeah. One last thing before we wrap up on the double play front. They've turned 50 double plays this year. They turned 120 last year. So kind of on the same pace as last year. Year before that, it was only 92. And so I think we were remembering 2021, 94, the year before that. So that was when they really struggled.
Yeah, it might have been that for sure. All right, Jeff. So like I said, that the Dodgers got the Giants this weekend. Next three series are fun in terms of for the fans. It's not this one's a rivalry this weekend, obviously, but then they got the Angels and they got the Astros, which are more about the fans, maybe a little bit more about the social media side of things, but still, Angels are playing well. Giants have been playing relatively well, and then the Astros are still the Astros. So good test over here the next three series for the Dodgers.
Yep.
All right, that's going to do it for today's episode. That's going to do it for this week. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen. Become an everydayer by finding us wherever you find podcasts and on YouTube and listening every single day. Make that easier on yourself by subscribing. That way you don't have to go and find us. It'll just get you updated on your phone or tablet or device, whatever you use. You can tell your friends, family about us. Make them become everydayers. You guys can, relish in the fact that you guys are all everydayers. Remember, SiriusXM, SXM app for every Dodgers home broadcast, for every game. All you got to do is search Dodgers. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Locked On Dodgers. Jeff is on Twitter at Snydog. I'm at Vince since 91. DMs are open on all those accounts if you need to get a hold of us. And also get a hold of us via email, lockedondodgers@gmail.com, or via voicemail text at 323-863-5625. We're here every weekday morning, and we hope you'll be with us. When you get in your car, if you're at home, tell your smart device play podcast, Locked On Dodgers. And remember, you don't have to agree. You just have to listen. Have a good one.
We'll talk to you on Monday.